Welcome to Brand News, a podcast. I'm your host, Charlotte Emily, a fashion podcast sharing news behind brands. Each episode will speak to people from within the industry to get a better understanding of their job roles, as well as discussing the latest fashion news. Welcome, Sita.
Hello, thank you.
So glad that you're finally here. I was actually just telling my boyfriend that you were going to be the first episode initially, and now it's episode 10. So I'm so glad that we made it work. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
So excited to be here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Sita, I'm really excited for this episode. I really think that your job is probably, definitely, I think, the most misunderstood job that there is in fashion.
Totally.
And yeah, I know that you agree. So I'm really excited to get into it. You are currently a technical development manager for Tommy Hilfiger.
Correct.
And I really want to talk to you about this job and how you got there. But yeah, do you agree with what I said about how the job is misunderstood?
Yes. So first, if I put vacancies out, I get IT guys.
Really?
I get software developers. I get people who think technical development has nothing to do with fashion.
Oh my God, I did not know this.
Yes. So let's say if I put a vacancy out, 50 people apply. I think 30 of them are not fashion technical jobs. So that is super interesting. So I'm then reading and I think like, do I miss something on my job description?
Yeah.
And are we not clear what this job role actually is? And then we're like, I think it's quite clear, but people just, the heading is then maybe too technical. And then they're like, we go for it. But I don't think you've read the job description then before applying. So it's super interesting that I actually always have this.
Yeah.
But it's a really kind of a job that you don't see a lot. There's not a specific education, uni, or a lot in Europe that you can be a specific tech developer. In PVH, it's a tech developer.
Yeah.
For vendors, it is a garment tech.
Yeah.
And you can fill the job in per company as you want to be, because in PVH we're really developers on the technical level. In my previous company, you can do other side steps on the product to optimize the quality.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really interesting that if people always ask me, what are you doing? What's your job? What actually is your day-to-day job?
Yeah.
Oh, you're probably fitting the whole day on model. You can look at models. Well, we wish it was like that. It was, look, when you're having a collaboration with like celebrities or whatever you can call it. Yes, we are doing that.
Yeah.
But day to day is just a whole different level of a job that you can think of. Yeah.
I always find it, I always feel like I have to explain what a garment tech is, because I've often also spoke about the job because it's also a very important job. If you're in buying or if you're in design, you're kind of, closely collaborating.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it always needs a description, like an extra description somehow. And also that, because I knew I was interviewing you, I was really looking like obviously into your CV, but also I started looking at articles and maybe schools and stuff like that. And like you say, there's hardly any education for it.
No.
And there's also hardly any like interviews with people or just articles in general about actually what it is that you do. So I was wondering, if someone asks you, what is it that you do, like in one sentence, how do you explain it?
I would say the first thing, I say everything what you see in a store is went through hands by a tech developer.
Yeah.
And then the second sentence, because that is the first, you can't do it in one.
Okay.
And then the second one is
into,
optimizing fit. So the product you're buying, you're actually happy when you're putting it on.
Yeah.
For me, I specialized in lingerie. I'm a bra tag developer. That's the closest to a body you can get.
Yeah.
Imagine you buying your first bra. You go to a bra store, any store that sells bras, and you put it on and you don't like it, you will never come back.
Yeah.
So if I talk about bras specifically, your first feeling is, I will go back and buy 5 of these bras. And then my job is to make sure that all the 5 bras fit the same.
Yeah. Because I also feel like if, say that your job didn't exist, like then it would really impact so many other jobs, like buying. Like, why would you then buy an X amount if they wouldn't sell because something isn't comfortable? Or design, also you work with closely, because I know you and the work that you've done, but I know that you've also had many meetings with design and have had to feedback about certain fabrics and fits, etc. So do you agree that design and buying is like the most, the 2 job roles that you work the most with, or am I missing one?
No, I think you're right there. Design, sure. Some designers are having a perfect technical skill to start the design process for a lingerie then, in this case. But also not.
Yeah.
Buying, yes. And I also think like in the PVH company, it's also the merch team that they understand why this need is important, why we always have to check if things are technical possible to put on a shop floor.
Yeah. You also worked in sales. What?
So cool, you know this.
What made you go back to like garment tech? Because you kind of had like a sideways step on your LinkedIn.
Yes.
What made you go back?
Firstly, I hate sales sites.
Okay.
I could not find the passion to push customers into buying stuff they didn't believe into.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe that's the only side I've known. And it was quite early in my career. And I did also miss the quality of product cycle.
Yeah.
To lift, how can you lift the garment up? Because I feel if you're selling products you're not standing for, it's also quite difficult to work on this, right? And then I had the opportunity to go back in the tech world, and I thought, yes, that's what I love. If people see me, they're like, no, you're like blah 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 blah. You're this kind of person that
you're very extroverted.
Yes, super. But I also in like that in my job. That's why maybe I'm so quick in getting along with the design and the PD, and I can really, because techs are sometimes a little bit on their own. They live in their own world. They are on their own terms quite perfectionistic, right? They really want to go for the best, and then you have buying and design to battle with constantly. Like, we know we want this. It's not possible. It's too expensive. No, that's affecting my design. But you're not getting the product which you need. And I feel like I'm quite a good balance in that. I can be on the commercial level, but also on the business side that makes it work and to give it a commercial look and what the brand needs, I think. Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that you are specialized in lingerie and bras specifically. How do you feel like your job role is then different from another product category? So say, for example, I don't know, you were doing just ready to wear.
Yeah, exactly. Well, ready to wear is quite quick. You don't have so many compositions, I believe.
Yeah.
When you're working on a t-shirt, you create a block and that is where you go for. You do...
What's a block?
Exactly.
I know what it is, but...
I know you know. But I think a block is the standard you always go for. So we have variations in blocks. So you can have a slim T that can be block number 1. You can have a straight T, block number 2. So that is a block. You always go back to your base. So design 10 straight T's with a different print. But we only fit 1 of the 10 because it stands for that block.
Yeah.
You have a front and back, a crew neck, and a short sleeve.
Yeah.
But on a bra, you have so many different parts that can impact a fit. So the moment you change fabric on that part of the bra, your fit will be adjusted.
Yeah.
It's different. The customer will feel...
Yeah.
It is different than if it's a micro bra or if it's a lace bra.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have to constantly tweak in the fabrication to get the correct shape.
Yeah. Does every brand have blocks? I actually know the answer. That's why I'm asking you.
Should be.
Yeah, yeah.
Should be. I think to create consistency in your product quality, yes. I think that's really important. You can have a base block, you can have the fashion blocks, you can have seasonal blocks.
Yeah.
So you can, probably every brand will do it on its own way, and that's fine, as long as it's clear for the consumer what you're presenting.
Yeah.
It's consistent.
Yeah. So you worked at a lingerie brand, Hunkemoller, which I think I've said I should ask for sponsoring because I've mentioned Hunkemoller so many times.
I heard.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so you worked there almost 10 years, right?
Yes, 10 years. And it were actually... it was a big development phase in my career.
Yeah.
When I came in, I was just mediator tech level, maybe even below, because I did the sidestep to sales.
Yeah.
But my manager, she was amazing. She was truly amazing. She was a tough one.
We can give a shout out. Julie Scottney
is the best. Is the best. I still have contact with her, and she's amazing. She knew so much. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's not easy always, really tough.
Yeah.
But she will give you what you need. But yeah, from her I've learned what a base is.
Yeah.
What it needs to have perfection in a garment, what it takes to work on it, to appreciate the other side.
Yeah.
Because it's not design and buying and the tech developers that are making the garment. It's actually the vendor that earns the credit. I think 70%, because they own it, and then it's the tech role to feed the vendor into the quality perception of the brand.
Yeah,
and I think she was really good in doing that and supporting me always. I've traveled so much to factories, and I think those 10 years gave me the learnings I have today, and I can spread it out to my team.
Yeah, so you really learn on the job.
You learn on the job by doing. And of course, Hunkemoller is a good brand. They're really lingerie. They have good production volume to also give you the opportunity to progress.
Yeah, because we were actually just saying about that there's not a study that you can follow. No. So what did you study?
I did textile management. So, I don't know if you say these days it's a private school, but it's in Utrecht, a little village that's called Doorn.
Okay.
It's a small school, maybe now a bit bigger, but actually there was a small part of it that called fabric knowledge. That was the lessons that were given, and pattern. You did a little bit, and I got interested in it, and then I did my internship at an underwear brand.
Okay.
And I actually did marketing.
Wow, that is the one thing that I would say that would just not fit you.
I did actually marketing, but then I think I did it for 2 weeks because then I saw like, what are you doing in that corner? And then I saw that there were fitting and measuring and looking at garments, and I thought, that's my eye.
Yeah.
That is what I want.
Yeah.
So I got the opportunity to switch in my intern and at the same company. And that is where I fell in love with, I think, production at the moment it's called. But after that, after my study, I thought, like, I need to move on. Where do I do this?
Yeah.
My side job was actually with a lingerie company.
Oh, my God.
In a store.
So it's literally just your life has been working at lingerie brands.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Not on my CV, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you start out at Hunkemoller, and what was your job role there?
At Hunkemoller?
Yeah.
I was at Hunkemoller a garment technician.
And did you then grow in seniority? So did you start as like a junior or as an assistant? Like, how did your career, what did it look like in those 10 years?
After my study, I went to Marlies Dekkers.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I was there an assistant/junior tech, where you actually only check patterns. But actually, you learn how to read patterns, and that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Measuring garments. I don't need to measure any garments. I know measurements by head. So I did a lot of like practical stuff there. Like I did make fit comments, but I had to let my senior check my fit comments before they went to the vendor. Yeah. So I got a lot of learning is there as well. How to write comments, how to write them in English, how to write them so the other side would exactly understand me and not come back like, what is this?
Yeah, because a vendor, well, if I'm correct, at that time, like 10 plus years ago, was mainly in China, right? Yeah. So you're communicating with someone in a foreign language for both of you.
Yes.
So communication is very important to do it clearly.
Yes. So after that, I did my sidestep to sales.
Yeah.
And then I came back as a tech on a mediator level.
Yeah.
So, and then I was garment tech, I think, for 3 years. And then I was quite a long time a senior tech. And in the senior, you still learn.
Yeah.
Because it went so quick. You go to the factory, you learn new things, you come back, you work on a new collections, you put your feedback into it. You just grow, you understand quality level more, you get consumer feedback. There are so many things a fit can do, like so many feedback can improve the fit. You also learn things by measuring differently. You buy other samples, like other brands, and you think like, oh, that's a good way to do. Actually, how can we implement this in the at that time Hunkemoller product? And I think we did a lot. We created a lot of good blogs.
Because am I right in saying that when you joined, there weren't many blogs?
No, correct.
So in those 10 years, that was a big focus for you, right?
A really big focus. Julie was really the driver on this. So she pulled us in, learned how to do this. How can you get consistency in creating blogs, teaching the vendors to use them. And then also for the swimwear part of the brand, we also did it. And then alignment, because you want the fits to be the same.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that was really interesting to do. And that's why I said I learned so much by doing that.
Yeah. You mentioned fittings as well. So for someone who, I don't know, maybe is on a marketing department in fashion and doesn't know what fitting is about or what it is that you do, can you explain the fitting part? Because I mean, you and me work together mainly in fittings. But I still find that one thing quite difficult to explain sometimes because Yeah, someone who just doesn't know what the technical part is of a garment. Like, it's quite difficult to explain what it is that you're doing the whole day.
Yeah, exactly. What are you doing 8 hours in this fitting room?
Yeah, well, literally, we were just stuck in that room with no windows for 8 hours.
Yeah,
right?
Okay, sounds like a punishment.
There were no windows there, right?
Yeah, I was on the big one on the side.
Oh.
Maybe it felt like trapped.
Yeah.
You're this free bird who wants more space.
Yeah, that's me, yeah.
No, so actually what we're doing in the fitting, so the design goes out, the vendors are starting to work on this. We get these days we call it a proto one. It comes in, you fit it with your design team, buying team, and you fit it against the block. So how the structure there was a bit different because currently at PVH we do a design handover.
Yeah.
So we would instruct the vendor which block to use. The specs are attached to it. At Hunkemoller it was not the case. So sometimes the samples came in and you're like... So we started fitting. So you put your block on. You put... like we had little... features how you can check the block on the body and make sure it was on the body, and then you put your new sample on, you check your checkpoints you have, how is it fits, does it fit how we want to be, does it give you a nice shape,
and you always fit it on live models.
Yes, at Hunkemoller we're always fitting at live models. At PVH actually we have the model measurements in cooperation with Alphanon. And we have our own mannequins that are almost exactly like a true model measurement. So when the model is not available, we can put it on the mannequin. But on these important milestones, like the first fit, size set, you actually use a real model.
I remember having to step in like... a lot, you, me, everyone actually, because the model wasn't available and we had to like get the sample comments through to the factory. Yeah. So you just actually, it looks like just checking, but you check if your bra straps are fine, your cups are on the correct place. The critical points for a bra are those where you want it to be. If you move, you don't fall out.
What
a great example of saying your tits falling out of your bra.
Yes, exactly. But it's so sensitive.
Of course.
The straps not pushing onto your skin? You don't get any red marks. Is it actually a good fit? Can we sell these in that volume we're going to produce this style in? And does it represent the brand? Yeah. So it is more difficult to say than if you're actually in a fit. Maybe we need to do a fit together again.
Yeah, sure.
You can show it.
Yeah, call me. You mentioned working with vendors quite a lot. I can actually imagine that's like a whole nother job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like two jobs in one.
Yes. Because you have your development stage where you develop and you work quite close with your teams. Yeah. The second one is the fitting side. Yeah. And then you have the third part, the communication with the vendor. Yeah. If you're working with new vendors, it's hard. I have one word. It's just hard. Getting to know them, they get to know you, the way of working, how do you communicate with them, find the level of communication, how often do you speak to each other. Some vendors need weekly approach by, are you clear? The handover is out. When can I have the samples? How far are they in the sample room? Because you have two separate parts in the factory, right? You have the sample room and a production room. So you keep, no, you're not clear on this. Email back, call here, call there. But slowly you're building a relationship.
Yeah, it becomes a colleague.
It's a colleague. And you also have to treat them because they work freaking hard for you. They need to get this shit done in 12 till 20 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. So how many factories is it normal for a brand to work with?
Actually, you don't want to minimize too much.
Yeah, for risk, right?
The risk is too high then,
Yeah.
especially if, well, there's so much happening with factories these days. It depends on the size of your company. So you can have like, for PVH, underwear is not too big, but it is important. So we do work with, I think, max 8 to 10.
Okay.
But like, I think for an Hunkemoller, it will be better to have more spread and set the same shapes, styles.
Okay, so after almost 10 years, you left Hunkemoller and you went to Tommy Hilfiger, PVH. Why? And how, like, what did you, why did you make that decision?
I think it was
not in a negative way, just trying to understand.
Yeah, exactly. No, because I think I was ready for something new.
Yeah.
I feel I was really safe. I felt I needed more, like not inspiration, but more drive.
Yeah.
It was like, when you're behind a counter and you hold the whole day, bleep, bleep. That was the feeling I had.
Oh, like you're working in a supermarket.
Yeah. I needed to have more. I feel nobody could learn me anything. My manager left.
Okay. Yeah.
I had no opportunity to learn more. So, and then PVH came. It was a good match. We found each other, and that was
so nice.
And it was an opportunity to run a team.
Yeah.
And be the helicopter instead of the doer. How do you say this?
Yeah, it's fine.
You can make yourself.
The doer.
The doer.
Okay, so how big is your team now?
I currently have 10 people under me.
Okay.
We'll change a little bit and we'll be ending, not because people will go, but because of team
structure.
Yeah. You can't have more than 8 people in PVH as a manager. Yeah. So I will have 7.
Okay. Yeah. Every episode I dive into some of the headlines, I call them. So what's happening in fashion right now and why, what are we talking about? And for the top 5 headlines for this episode, I've actually looked at an article which was written in Vogue Business. It's called Garment Factories Are Ramping Up Automation. What Will It Do to Jobs? And like I said, I found it really hard to find something recent, because this is also actually from, I think, August last year, so August 2023. That was like the most recent thing I could find in relevance to your job.
Okay.
So I found it actually quite hard, not gonna lie.
No.
So I chose this article because, I really wanted to actually get some of your point of view on some of the topics that they cover. So, okay, here we go. 80% of factories in Bangladesh are planning to purchase automated machines in the next 2 years. Brands in luxury, including Prada and Louis Vuitton, have already started to use technologies such as robots, 3D printing, and AI to create garments and footwear. Around 80% of garment workers worldwide are women. Zalando has trained around 3,000 employees in efficiency training, gender equality, financial literacy, workplace communication, and health and well-being in factories in Bangladesh. And a company called Shimmy predicts that the workforce will reduce by 5% from the upcoming round of automation, amounting to more than 200,000 job losses over an 18-month period.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm going to send this article to you. Mm-hmm. How do these numbers make you feel?
Suspicious.
Yeah. Are you seeing like an automation in your work, like from when you started to now?
Oh.
No?
No.
I was really expecting you to say yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No.
Is there nothing that you currently do in terms of like 3D design or AI design or
3D? Yes.
Okay.
Because on PVH we do a lot of 3D.
Yeah.
We also have 3D artists who are, and that's more for the digital sell as a selling tool. They are using it. We have quite a big 3D program on the underwear team. And they do have like avatars that's matching. It's so interesting in seeing this.
Yeah.
But for fit, no. I already saw it like my first time when I went traveling. That's maybe around 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Even maybe a bit longer. But then I already saw a 3D system and I thought like, I don't believe in it. And I still don't believe in it. That can take fit sessions over. Maybe ready to wear, yes. That could be an option. But you can't put draping almost in this system. And that's so difficult. Then you should actually scan the fabric into this. But it's also quite expensive to get the shape of and the feeling and the drape way of the fabrication, I think.
Yeah.
In it.
Interesting. Okay. Because I actually also recorded an episode with someone who is a 3D designer. And he was very...
I heard that one actually.
Yeah, he was very saying like it's a positive tool and people are using it and it could take over some jobs, but
not fitting.
Interesting. I was gonna expect you to say something different.
Yeah, sorry, disappointing.
No, not disappointing because I know it's a lot of handwork.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why you couldn't.
I don't see how you could fit a bra, get fit comments from that from a not human ish without a mouth saying it feels too tight, I need a bit of here, the wire is actually hurting on my body, the closure is not comfortable when I'm sitting. I don't
need a human.
I think for underwear we need human.
Okay, so on other products maybe.
I think still at denim, same quite critical product.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't. Yeah, you can show it on Avatar. You can present it in a 3D. You can make quite some nice maybe selling tools with it. But I don't see fitting on it because every wash, every fabric is impacting on fit.
What do you feel about like the 3D part or the AI part in general? Because I know it is there in terms of, well, even in PVH, like I know when you go to the showroom, things are shown digitally more than than physically. Do you think like in the future it will impact your job?
As a technical developer, I don't know actually. I can't say yes and I want to say no.
Yeah. I imagine. Yeah.
I don't want all your million listeners to say Sita said no.
Oh, I love the fact that you think I have a million listeners.
No, it's no joke. I can't say that.
Yeah.
Because for fitting, I still believe we need an actual fitting session to see how products are living on the body.
So you mentioned in the beginning of the podcast that you get like IT guys applying for jobs and it's very unclear like what a technical development manager is or a garment tech. How do you think that can change in the world?
Super interesting, this one. I think first, the reason I think why they don't know what it is, because we're quite low in the steps to approach, right? Because first it's design, and they are doing their work, and that's like 40% of how the product looks, right? And then you have buying who are actually quite crucial. Can we actually buy this product to get it for the right price on the shelf? And then, yes, we're going for it. We have the right product for the right price. Let's go for it. We now have an X amount of time left to get this product actually in store. Oh yeah, we need tag because it needs to fit as well.
Okay, so do you mean that the job itself is just not as visible within companies?
Yes, that's what I think.
Yeah.
But at PVH, actually, in my current role, I think is the importance is visible.
Yeah.
There is, in the early beginnings of the design stage, we're quite involved.
Yeah.
The designers do reach out if there are struggles. Because before the design, they have a thing what they want to design.
Yeah.
They have inspiration. We fit them. We take inspiration from our previous seasons.
Yeah.
So there's more involvement, I think, for the current tech team.
Yeah. Okay. And in general, I think just offering it as a study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I see. I think in UK there is.
Yes, there is actually.
Yeah.
At the UAL.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. There is. But how nice would it be if this was approachable for more people who loves to see this? Because it's always like if you have interns, they always go for the buying or the design.
Yeah.
It was always also quite difficult to get technical interns.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that still the case?
At PVH, there are not so many internships on the product development area anyway, but I think at Hunkemoller there were quite... It was quite good, actually.
Okay.
People understood what the job is. And because I think there's also... I think a uni here in the Netherlands, they do actually some more technical input in their study, and those were the ones that will apply then, or indeed of the uni that I did as well.
Yeah.
But to come back, why I think it's mainly technical. I
Yeah.
think it's just a word.
Yeah.
But I think also maybe people don't read.
Yeah. Don't truly understand what it is.
Exactly.
That's why I'm trying to get out with this podcast. What's your right? Yeah. What's your favorite memory from your career?
When I was traveling to Bangladesh, and the hard workers that they are, the passion that they have, I thought was amazing. That was really a turnaround that I thought these people really work. They will give everything to... Like, we don't think about that.
Well, not when you buy a shirt or a I don't know,
No.
or a jumper. Or that's not what I would say the average consumer is actually thinking about.
No. But also, I think not the IT guy that works in the same company that you travel for.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the finance guy.
Yeah. Or the
Or girl.
buyer, or
The
the
girl,
finance girl. Yeah.
Or the buyer.
Yeah. Maybe more, but not as much.
Yeah, maybe more, not as much. Or the processes that needs to be per line. But to go back what was the question again? Because I am so good in talking about bullshit.
I said your favorite career memory.
And also to work with in collaborations. I think that's really interesting. That you have...
like brand collaborations.
Yeah, brand collaborations. Yeah. Or like with, for example, with Duitse.
Yeah.
Or Sylvie Meis. That was really nice to work with. That was also quite new for me.
Yeah, so like a celebrity collaboration with a brand.
Yeah. For PVH, we did it with Shawn Mendes.
Oh, yeah.
That was really
Did you work
nice.
on that?
Yes.
Did you meet him?
No, unfortunately not. But the team
I
did.
knew he came to the office, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
so some of the team did. But I had no time. I think I was traveling or something.
You were measuring something.
Yeah, of course. I was checking if the Shawn Mendes undies were properly made. No, but that was really nice because that was actually my first when I joined. It was like the first. Well, it came out later, but of course the development stage was early. So that was really nice to work on that level as well. And I just want to say travel, actually.
Yeah.
Because that is where you really understand
The impact.
What other people do on your product.
Yeah. That's a beautiful memory to end it on, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think, I'm really always very impressed with you and your career and everything that you do. So I'm really grateful that you were a guest on the podcast, and I hope people understand more what a garment tech is, and I think it's a great role, and it should be more like attention for it.
I agree, and I hope people will understand a bit more. If not, let me know.
Thank you.